No Red Ink is a website and app specifically designed to teach grammar and mechanics to students. It was created by teachers, and the purpose behind it was to be able to give immediate feedback and to build curriculum that is connected to students' interests. No Red Ink says that it offers high interest content. Students take a survey that asks about their favorite celebrities, hobbies, TV shows, and friends, and then all content embeds those interests. And so often the sentences that students are working with are funny and sometimes a bit goofy. The assessments are more authentic in that students actually physically drag in commas, click words to capitalize, throw out unwanted punctuation, and edit sentence parts directly instead of using multiple choice question formats. No Red Ink says that it's blended learning because students can work at their own pace. They can work anytime, anywhere. It is a free platform, and the technology is somewhat adaptive. Questions get repeated. Students get harder or easier questions based on their responses, and there are tutorials that show up when learners get stuck. In order to show a question on how this works, I'll go into a study session that I built for a quiz retake. Mufasa won't even consider going skydiving until June, 25th, 2084. So this comma I think is wrong, and this comma I'm going to put in, and I'm going to submit my answer. And I got that one correct. So Ron Weasley needed to sew his Halloween costume before October 31st, but he ran out of fuzzy fabric. I believe that this comma needs to go away, and I will submit that answer. On October 2nd, 2013, Albus Dumbledore tried Doritos for the first time. So I'll get rid of that and put this in. So as you can see, this is all comma practice working in No Red Ink. There's a mastery bar over here that can show how you're doing on course content. If you get one wrong, for example, I will get this one wrong. You can see, first of all, that my mastery bar drops significantly. It encourages me to try once more to fix the question, or I can see a hint if I want to see the tutorial, and this will explain how the content works. So I'm going to go into my teacher dashboard and show you the teacher side. These are the classes that I've created, and so these are the assignments that I have. There are diagnostics that you can build to get kind of a pre-test baseline. There are assignments that you can build that do give hints and tutorials throughout, and there are quizzes that you can build for final quiz content. To create a new assignment, you simply click on Create a New Assignment, and it will pull up the information. You can assign it to students. You can say, I want to create a practice, and I'm going to have it be 10 questions. And then you can select the content and decide specifically what kind of content you want students to work with. It'll tell you how many topics you've selected and approximately how many minutes those questions will take for students to create. Something else that is great to work with on No Red Ink is the dashboard where you can see the data. So this is the data that I have for this class, the 3 assignments. You can see the scores that students have received, how far along they are. Hermione Granger is not doing her homework, and how they're scoring. If I go into specific assessments, I can see performance bands and where students fall on those performance bands. I can also look at the specific items and see which specific questions students are getting wrong. So Primrose Everdeen missed this one, and I can actually see what question it was that she got wrong, what her attempts were, and that way I know how they're doing. There's also a way within No Red Ink to create two quizzes so that you can compare growth and show growth. The English Language Arts standards for grades 9 and 10 talk about conventions, and specifically the demonstrating command of the conventions of English capitalization, punctuation, spelling, semicolons, conjunctive adverbs, independent clauses, colons. So all of these things can be created in No Red Ink. However, it's important to note that other standards related to demonstrating conventions of standard English grammar and usage when writing or speaking can't be done in No Red Ink because you're not authentically writing and you're definitely not speaking. You're only fixing grammatical errors within sentences. The Triple E framework that talks about engaging, enhancing, and extending and using technology in order to do that can be applied to No Red Ink actually fairly well. When you look at engagement and the technology tool helping students focus on the learning goals with less distraction, they definitely do plug into the computer screen and they do pay attention. It is somewhat motivating because the students do like the interesting questions, and it somewhat allows engagement. For enhancement, it doesn't create any opportunities for creation or production. It does somewhat scaffold concepts, definitely when it shows the tutorials, but it doesn't really allow students to create anything authentic. That piece is missing. But students can work on it outside of the school day. It definitely creates a bridge between the work they do in school and their interests. And it does allow students to build skills if we're going to consider grammar to be a skill that they need to use in their everyday lives. And I would insist that it absolutely is. So according to the Triple E framework, No Red Ink falls into the yellow light area. So it's definitely a technology worth using, but teachers would need to specifically add more instructional moves into the lesson to better leverage the technology for student learning and honestly to help students create. So No Red Ink is a tool. It's a tool to help students remember concepts, to help them understand concepts, but it doesn't really allow them to apply, analyze, evaluate, or create. That being said, when I looked at No Red Ink and surveyed my own students, 50% of the students said yes, they liked it, and another 30% said it was okay. So they actually rated it fairly highly, and they definitely felt it was much better than Khan Academy. Students said it was more interesting. They said that they learned. In fact, over 90% of students said that they learned using No Red Ink. They said it was more fun. They said that they understood the content better. And they said they wanted to continue to use it. So that in and of itself gave a fairly high score in my book, that the students enjoyed working in No Red Ink. I do want to draw your attention to the one gamification aspect, this mastery toolbar, which did create huge problems in my class. Many of the students were so obsessed with this mastery section going up and going down that I had to block it from their site so they could focus on the content. However, No Red Ink is a tool that could be used for practice in the classroom. It can't replace meaningful grammar practice and grammar in context, but it does definitely allow for quality practice.